when very kindly someone put me forward for an honorary PhD, which it came as a letter form first and foremost, and a lot of people said, "Oh, that's really good," And then the guy who was going to do the presentation or do some background on myself sort of phoned me up and said, "Well, how do you feel about this award we're going to give you?" And I said, "Well, the only thing with it, I forget his name now, lovely guy, is that I feel that it's a bit of a charade. In other words, I don't feel I've earned it. But the other thing is the fact that you often give honorary doctorates to some pop star or someone who's done something in entertainment field, and really it belittles it in a sense." And he came back very quickly and said, "No, okay, I agree with you in some ways, but this is given to you for the science you've done." He said, in point of fact, if you add up all the sort of papers you've been involved with and things you've done, you've already earned that. You could go to a university and say, "Well, look at all the papers I've done." You could get that on the back of that, on the strength of that. So I realised my thoughts were sort of wrong on that, and I did accept the thing. And the nice thing for me, the nicest thing I'll tell you, is the fact that they looked after me like I was a VIP. It was brilliant. But the guy said, "Look, when we do the presentation, you're up there with the Chancellor and all these other people, and I've not a clue about academia, I'm like a fish out of water when I went there." But they did say, "Look, would you like to respond to the guy who's going to do your background and what you've achieved and everything else?" He said, "More often than not, people get quite emotional and don't want to do that response." And I said, "Well, no, I'd love to do it because to thank the people that put me forward." And I'm still not sure. I have got a good idea. It's one of the professors there that I'm closely aligned with, but and a few other people have put the idea in their heads. And so when I went to this presentation, which there was dozens and dozens of students getting their sort of awards and everything else, at the end of it, I was sat two things away from the Chancellor, who then piped up and said all these sort of things, and I responded. Now, that night before, I wrote down a list of notes to what I was going to sort of say, but I'm the sort of guy that can't follow rules and regulations. So at the end of the day, I threw those away and thought, no, I'll do it off the cuff. And the nice thing was, and I can't remember what I said, but it was more of an inspiration for the students that were there and what they could achieve. And okay, the day went great. And then I saw one of the, I suppose one of the people who do the teaching there, and he came across and said, "Well, of all the speeches that were given, that was the most enthusing one, the one that gave more sort of inspiration and everything to the students." And he was really sort of pleased by the way it sort of come across, which is great. And that's really what it was all about. So, as I say, I was like a fish out of water with the award, but it's good for the collection.